Hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Biswamil Alma Diaries. I'm Pranav Narag from the Office of Alumni Relations. Today we have with us Avirat Parekh from Mumbai, B-Town. Hi Avirat.
Hi Pranav, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All good, all good. Everything's great. Yes, just busy. It's a Monday,
So
so
yeah, Avirat, can you start with your basic introduction of yourself?
hi everyone. I'm Avirat Parekh. I did my Bachelor's of Arts in Global Affairs from Jindal Global University. I especially the Jindal School of International Affairs. I graduated. I'm in the process of graduating actually. The paperwork's yet to come, but we submitted the papers and let's hope. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm from Bombay only. I grew up here. Just grew up with doing a lot of theater. Uh, Grew up with sort of also putting into perspective a lot of things. Yeah, so I just grew up in Bombay and always been here. Did a lot of theater as when I was young. I worked with Nadra Zahir Babur and did a lot of other work as well. Um, why I chose to do an international relations degree in Sonipat, Haryana, is because Jindal School of International Affairs happens to be the best IR sort of university or course in the country, if I'm not mistaken, and the only one that's offering it to you without uh, calling it under the bracket of liberal arts. But yeah, I've moved back to Bombay when the lockdown was announced, and I've been working here in the entertainment industry.
Uh, Avirat, can you explain the journey how you transformed from a student in a liberal art university to working in entertainment industry? So, what were the uh,
So entertainment,
choices you
yeah.
had made, like while you were transitioning, like about your career, and why did you choose to go as a full-time artist rather than joining a professional
Yeah,
organization?
so my journey has been very special. I
Yeah.
mean, I was always very interested in literature and theater and acting. I always wanted to be an actor, and honestly, coming to Jindal was more centric to me attending a lot of Model UN conferences. So I was really good at MUNs and debates, etc. So I thought, why not make a career out of it? So I was aspiring to be a news anchor when I honestly joined Jindal, and I wanted to do world news. So studying international relations made absolute sense to me. But over time, I've realized that it's very important to follow your passion, and I think Jindal played a very big part because I was a very vocal and strong member of the theatre society, and we put up a lot of productions across Delhi. And overall, my journey's been more in the sense that, I mean, how people fight different things and different emotions and different people in life. I think I fought myself and my own insecurities with respect to being in the entertainment industry, and I just haven't had the fine privilege of sort of working elsewhere, other than the fact that I also had a brief career in journalism. So I was interning for Business Today, India Today Group, and I also worked for Livement, which is the business news division of the Hindustan Times Group as well. But then, I mean, where your heart is where it is. You can't do much about that. And honestly, my journey has been very transformational from being a single child raised by a single mother. Jindal absolutely opened up my avenues. And also, what happens is when you grow up in a city like Mumbai, it's just, I mean, for the lack of a better word, very incestuous. Everyone knows everyone. And going to a truly almost global campus helps. You meet people from different parts of the world, different parts of the country. You learn so much about Haryanvi culture, which is very interesting because the moment that gate, beyond that gate is you're in Haryana, and it's just very interesting because having grown up in, I mean, my school was one concrete building, so that entire campus, that aura, is just something that's irreplaceable, and I would not think twice if I were to go back in my life 3 years. I would really not go to any other university because it absolutely changed me, and everything, the hostel life and this and that, and just about everything, the opportunities we have at JSIA and JGU overall. It's been very helpful, yeah.
Yeah. So, uh, did you receive any kind of constructive criticism or uh, an opinion from like colleague or senior professors uh, that
Yeah, in
that
fact,
that that
yeah.
played key role in shaping your career?
Yeah, so shaping my career, I don't know too much about that.
Okay.
At least when I was working in journalism, I faced a lot of, I mean, I've had abundant conversations with a lot of professors. So Professor Mohan Kumar, who taught us diplomacy, who's a retired foreign service officer himself. Now I think he runs RIS, which is a think tank, which the PMO sanctions and works with very closely. So I think he very specifically, we would have very interesting debates. So one day we were deliberating about, say, India's political stance in the world and so on and so forth. And he asked us a very simple question about, if you were to be made Prime Minister of India in 1948 or 47, what would be your choices? Would you want to be proud and poor? Or would you want to be, you know, rich and, shallow? So that was something that no one could answer well, because this is a weird choice, right? Like, what do you choose? And this is exactly the dilemma that, I mean, then Prime Minister Nehru would have faced. And it's just so enriching when individuals of such caliber become your professors, because they bring with them mounds of experience, and it's just very nice. Also, I mean, shout out to Professor Kinvraj, who very interestingly I've had a conversation with during class, where we were talking about so Professor Kinvraj would just walk in and be like, what is democracy? And we would begin, our center of debate. Also, Professor Cholia, he taught us this course called World Views from Multiple Perspectives. He's also our dean. So he basically taught me how to discount news that is propaganda, because we would read multiple news sources, right? Like, we would read a Russia Today article, then a CNN article on the same issue, and see how differently it's being reported. That obviously gave me an insight. I was pretty naive when I joined Jindal, because I believed that you should take what a country says seriously about their own situation. And I think that opened up a lot, overall, just the exposure, the environment of being around such qualified and accomplished political scientists. I mean, it's a lot of fodder. I mean, now I write professionally, so any experience has genuinely helped in everything almost. And especially when I was doing journalism, um, just I think Professor Cholia just broke my bubble with respect to believing in actual news reports and looking through their actual and absolute credibility. So when I went to intern, I was a lot more aware of multiple news sources, etc., etc. So it's genuinely helped me shape up as a human being and as a working professional.
Good to have uh, guidance from experts in the industry. So, uh, w- can you explain about your current projects or recent projects you have been working on, and what do you see
Right,
yourself in
right.
the future?
Right. So I am currently a writer. I'm writing for different projects. I'm actually also associated with a production house called Out of the Box Production. I'm part of their writers' wing, and we basically are working on this show in collaboration with another production house called Exposition Pictures, which is run by a very close friend, Kabir Khurana, who's actually to my right. And it's just we're working on this show which we're pitching to OTT platforms. Other than that, I'm working on a Malayalam feature film, which very interestingly is another alumni of the law school, Rohan Matthew. He assisted Jitu Joseph on a lot of movies, including Drishyam in Malayalam. So he's now making his first feature film, and I'm writing that as well. And I'm also working on a Hindi feature with this director called Pratik Kothari, who's made a feature film, who's made an OTT show on a Gujarati platform and stuff like that. So I'm working a lot here. Plus, I'm also producing my own, like a pitch to an OTT platform for a short format show, and it's a horror sort of. It's a horror film, and which is why I'm looking horrific, because I'm also acting in it. So yeah, that's just about that. Other than that, I mean, I'd love to do theater, but we all know the situation out there. So
So, what do you think? What are the disadvantages or any advantages that you have faced while working in the entertainment industry in your current project?
I mean, see, the first thing is that when you're young, fairly young, you don't get taken seriously, and that can generally get to you mentally. And that's something that I think everyone should, I don't know, do away with, because I mean, in my opinion, talent speaks more than anything. But oftentimes, it's these soft skills on how you conduct yourself, how you maybe do not get overexcited when someone's someone's ready to sign you for a very big, say, project. So it's just a lot of self-control, self-awareness. That other than that, challenges I've faced is, see, I mean, I don't belong to any film family. Uh, I mean, and I mean, this is the best time to work in the entertainment industry, in my opinion, because things are opening up, opportunities are opening up. I mean, you see these OTT platforms lining up to help beginners make what they have to, right? Other than that, I think this was not a disadvantage. This is more of an advantage. I was very well researched with respect to cinema, procedure, etc., etc., and that helps. So that. And another thing, I mean, if you ever want to work in the entertainment industry as like a writer, especially, it's all about noticing the finer things and living experiences more than anything. If I'm in a room full of 8 eccentric people, I'm going to be just observing them. I'm going to have a conversation with them, ask them about their views on things. So you're always on, you know, like even right now, sort of looking at different people, getting so it's about living life to the fullest, making use of every opportunity and being a voyeur. It's that simple, like that fly on the wall who'll just about do anything to get more information. So it's a quest for information. And that another just the last sort of disadvantage I faced is um, obviously what happens is that when you are when you are from an educational background like international relations, you tend to take yourselves too seriously, which I feel does not work. So I initially, had that about me, that I mean, I'm an IR graduate, and I've had gigs at journalism, and I've written so many articles and I've broken stories, this that, but honestly no one cares, and no one should, because at the end of the day the person you are speaks volumes about that. And I've only realized this about over time, that if someone sees something in you, it's going to be for who you are rather than what you think you are. So that's just another pointer. Yeah.
So, what do you think are the key skills sets one need to focus on while making a career in entertainment industry, whether it is as a writer or an actor? Because you
See,
are
see,
doing multiple roles.
yeah, I understand. No, no, no.
Interesting
So the
hat.
key skills, if I'm no, no, no. If I'm to tell you key skills, it's just as simple as they say all the world's a classroom. So you need to actually live up to that. I think awareness, being informed, being well informed is very important. I mean, about politics, about world affairs, about current affairs, etc., etc. So, I mean, a lot of people discount that, say that, no, I mean, I want to make movies and I want to write movies and I want to be an actor. How does it matter if I don't know about the new Iranian prime minister? But that's just odd, in my opinion. The more aware you are, there's more layering, there's more detailing to your work. So I think that's one skill that you need to have, is to be aware all the time, you know. And if not aware, you need to learn how to stay informed. So you don't even have to read the news every day. It's all about grasping. So once you build that grasping power, you can just read a headline and know what's in the article. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it saves time. Other than that, I think you need to be very flexible, because um, you can't be rigid. For example, if you write a marvelous script, like you write a La La Land, for example, and if you don't have the budgets for it, and if someone tells you no, you need to compromise here, 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 you can't be like, no, I don't want to compromise. I mean, it's adorable to think that you that one shouldn't compromise with the concept, etc., etc. But it's also about the feasibility of things getting made, because you may also not see that much. Another thing is that there's oftentimes a disconnect with art forms. You lose objectivity. Like for example, if I'm rehearsing a play for say 3 months, right, and I love it, yeah, but if I go out there and perform and the audience boos me down, there's no point. So you should be open to a lot of feedback and criticism. So that's one thing that I think also happens. Another final sort of skill set is always being on your toes, right? It's a hustle. It's a hustling world where you have to keep hustling. You have to not give up. Basically, it just boils down to how much you believe in your dream, be it any profession. I mean, if you have it in you to go to lengths to fulfill your dream, why not? And in my opinion, you should have a very clear vision of what you want, and everyone does somewhere deep down. And if you don't even better explore, because there is that one goal that you want to reach. Like for example, I mean, it's all got to do with practicing, say, award speeches when I was younger. So you need to go deep down in your past, look into yourself. Self-awareness. The more self-aware you are, it's always going to help you, because especially when you act, right? When you act, to have a good understanding of yourself, you not only know your limitations, but in my opinion, a good actor is someone who can snap out of it and not stay there or get consumed. And to do that, you need to be very self-aware. So that, plus you need to be very headstrong mentally. Like your mental health has to be impeccable, especially when you're trying to make a career in the arts, especially actually in any profession, but more specifically the arts, is because it's so consuming. Because there's no, like, it's not like at 10 o'clock you will stop work. You're going to still have to make calls. Yeah. So, it's an always on thing. And if you're not sorted mentally, then I think that becomes a little problematic to deal with, at the least. And I'm speaking from experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you're pointing more towards work-life balance in entertainment industry. Yeah, so what what do you think, like, uh, when it comes to entertainment industry, like, they, what about networking? How hard it is to get into different networks? So
No,
how
so
you are?
networking. Yeah. No, I get your question. So networking is as simple as, I mean, it's a very important soft skill. In my opinion, if schools were to start teaching you how to network, then I mean, everyone would have a startup. Everyone would basically be killing it in life, because that's just something our educational system does not focus on. And networking is not hard. It's really not. Like, a lot of people make a huge mound of it and say that it's so tough. No, it's as simple as striking up a conversation. you know if you become a good conversationalist, if you become a good conversation starter, if you can just hold a conversation, you will network automatically. um, it's also that. Another thing is, I mean, at least I can say this about Mumbai, people who've grown up in a city which is centered around the entertainment industry. It's more specific to looking into your contacts, looking into people, and not have any shame. You need to drop that shame. That, should I mean, I haven't spoken to this person in 3 years, but should I ask for a reference or a contact? But also, there's ethical ways of doing it. You can't just be like, okay, make me meet this big producer. That's just not how it works. There's a process. You can ask for an email ID, you can ask for a phone number, you can ask a work phone number. you know I think you need to not intrude their personal spaces as well, because it's very important to respect that. But at the end of it, if I'm to tell you in a sentence, it's just as simple as dropping all sense of shame, because there is no shame. You're fighting for your dream. You want to achieve your dream, and it all magically makes sense when things fall in place. Jindal really opens up your horizons. So you also have to be open. There's a lot more than the partying. There's a lot more than the social sort of obligations and customs. We're all aware. We're all from Jindal. You know what I'm talking about. That's also nice. It's also important. But at the end of it,
Did you have any past experiences in your internships or at Jindal itself uh, had a reflection on your current projects or like way you work in your current?
absolutely. So I also write, and I have written a show which I'm pitching around, which is based off this guy I met in Jindal. I'm not gonna name him, but he's from the law school, and I just took his name and his identity, and I used it in my story. And it's just again, it's all about looking for content. It's all about that hunger for stories, because everyone has a sense of interaction. Other than that, I think I met someone at Jindal, and that's how I got to my first big internship, which was India Today. So it's also about networking, and that's really helped me. Another experience from Jindal that's really helped me is that so I was always into theater, but um, I didn't open up as an actor. So I didn't have the confidence. I was very consumed by my own self doubt, because it's not the it's not the ideal profession. So my family tried to keep me away from it a lot, and I started believing that I'm not good enough. So that I think Jindal gave me, the Theatre Society. Shout out to Vishesh Arora and Sonali Sharma. They were running the society when I reached, and oh my god, that I did a play called Blasted in college, which was about rape, and I was almost naked on stage. Like, I was butt naked on stage, and now I can do anything. I feel like I can stand on the street and I don't know, strip and perform if that's what's needed of me. So that sense of confidence is something that the theater society at Jindal gave me, and very experimental. They tend to do plays in the neo futuristic sort of space and this and that. And I also put up a theater production called Ram Leela in Jindal, and oh my god, that was so good. It was more like a conversation with Madhav Grover, who was the president of the JSIA Student Council, where I spoke to him and I told him, listen, I want to do this play. No one's letting me do it. So he's like, okay, what's it about? So I narrated the play to him, and he's like, okay, sure, let's go. So we got funds from the dean's discretionary fund, and then we were falling short. So we approached the U-Haul office. So Surinder ma'am very graciously sort of gave us a prerogative and said, okay, you guys want to do theater? What's your concept? And I gave my concept, was because it was Ram Leela. I spoke about Indian culture and tradition, etc., etc. So people really got immersed. Moreover, the subject of my play was not only about Ram Leela; it was about a group of actors putting up Ram Leela, and I tried to question perception and reality. So in my play, the actor playing Ravan was nice, like he was the protagonist, and the actor playing Ram was an antagonist, like he was ruining things. So I just challenged perception, because we've been told all this while, right? Ravan is bad and Ravan is evil, etc., etc., and Ram is very uh, you know humane. So that's what we've been told and fed. And my only thing is that we should question it. Never take things, right? Like, if today someone says, for example, if someone says Kim Jong Un is evil, do your own research and form your opinion, and then come to a conclusion. But uninformed people, more specifically, I'm talking about, say what happens on Instagram or another social media platforms. It's just sharing opinions, and what you think might be independent journalism is not oftentimes. Worked in journalism, I realized that nothing is independent. Everyone has an interest, be it political, be it commercial, be it so on and so forth. So I think everyone should become more aware. And that's what Jindal overall has.
What comes to my mind after listening to you is like what's going on in the industry and in India itself about like what do you think like how much the current policy space affects your writing? Like, do you tend to be governed by kind of policy government has when it comes to content production? Did you had any experience of like where you have to take a step back when it comes to freedom of expression?
Yeah, I mean, it's there in all art forms. And it's not only government, it's every institutional structure, be it the corporate lobbies, be it the university administration, be it theater groups, be it so on and so forth. There's so many wilder things I'd want to do. But oftentimes, I mean, people go anti-establishment and say that these things are unimportant. But, we need to also think and understand from their position. Like, for example, if I want to make a very provocative film, which is openly criticizing a certain religious sect or something like that, you need to also, I'm not saying follow them, but don't discount them absolutely, because they also they can't have riots. We are a sensitive country, which apparently is tolerant, but the people aren't. Neither and the people are representation of the government. So overall, I think that's that. And as for my personal experiences, I mean, it happens everywhere, because when you write something, it's subjective, right? Everyone's going to have their own sense of feedback for it, right? Someone will say it's too edgy. Oh, this is not edgy, which is why I need to have a plethora, in my opinion. That's how you positively derive from it. Rather than obviously sit down and say, oh my God, my films are getting banned, my work is getting banned, no one's making it, it's not releasing, I'm going to bring the world down. That's not the right approach, in my opinion. I'm more of a person who likes to keep the system and the people happy. Like, because I mean, owing to my uh, diplomacy degree, because I feel that's the only way you can achieve something big in life. If you're gonna be headstrong, you might just be stuck there forever, or you have to be really lucky. You have to be very lucky and very talented, which I agree I'm not. I'm really not. So I absorb in my system, but someday, obviously, when I obviously become big, or make a name for myself, I'm going to be putting out the kind of work that I want to. Yeah.
That's all for today. Thank you, Avirat, for taking out time from your busy schedule. It seems you are in the background. We can see a lot of hustling going on.
Yeah, that's what a production house looks like.